all our precious guests to join in. I'm Zil Ang, honored to be your host in Geoheroes. This is where we travel all around the world through not planes, not cars, not birds, but through talking. Accompanied by three special guests. One is a historian, one is a cultural researcher, and lastly, the architect. Coming to today's episode, we will continue our journey in the UK, but in another country. Today, the destination will be Wales, which is usually called the land of castles. Talking about castles, among all the beautiful medieval castles in Wales, there is one with an unexpectedly good history and architecture. I'm talking about Pembroke Castle, lying in Pembrokeshire. First of all, let me introduce a little bit about the site Pembrokeshire.
Pembrokeshire is a county located in southwestern Wales. It is 583 square kilometers and has a population of about 130,000 people, which means that the population density of the county is around 78 people per square kilometers, which is, I must say, relatively low compared to the average of Wales. Because of its location as well as geographical features, the economy here is not as developed as the southern coast of Wales. Yes, we have industry, however, it is mainly restricted to the energy generating sector, like oil and gas. In fact, the Valero Energy Corporation, Pembroke Refinery is among the top 6 major refineries in the UK, producing 10.5 million tonnes of oil per year. Additionally, since there is a port in this area, the trading industry is quite mature, and the fastest growing sector is tourism. Pembrokeshire has indescribably beautiful natural beauty, like the coastline and some small bays and inlets, as well as a national park and some castles.
In terms of history, as being easily accessible by sea, much of its history has been shaped by surprisingly far-ranging trading links. For example, some of them were: in ancient times, Pembrokeshire formed the Welsh region of Dyfed. In 877, some coast towns fell prey to Scandinavian pirates, as known as the Vikings. In the 11th century, the Normans established control over southern Dyfed, commenced by building Pembroke Castle. Later, throughout 1,000 years of invasion, the Normans built more and more castles over Wales. During the Middle Ages, Pembrokeshire Port was a market centre. Then, during the 17th century, this county was one of the battlegrounds of the English Civil Wars.
All right then, you've heard about some good general information about Pembrokeshire. Now let's turn to our main stop today, the Pembroke Castle. First of all, what is some basic information about Pembroke Castle that we all need to know? Why? May I ask you to provide some knowledge about the first question?
Yes, of course.
Pembroke Castle, or in Welsh, it is Castel Pembroke, is a medieval castle in the centre of Pembroke, Pembrokeshire in Wales. It holds many historical as well as architectural values. For instance, the castle was the original family seat of the Earldom of Pembroke. Today, the castle is open to the public, boosting the region's economy, and it is the largest privately owned castle in Wales.
Yeah, perfect answer. Thank you. I do agree that Pembroke Castle plays an important role in Pembrokeshire in terms of history, architecture, and economy. But what forms its value? Let's turn back to history, shall we? I really want to know the history of Pembroke Castle. Hein, can you tell us more about when, who, and why was the castle built?
All right. Shall we start with the Battle of Hastings before the earliest castle was formed? Let's see what's happened.
In 1066, following the Battle of Hastings, the Normans, victorious in their invasion of England, set their sights on the rockland of Wales. It was a time of disturbance and violence, as the Roger of Montgomery, the loyal Norman lord, looked to secure his hold on the Welsh frontier. In 1093, the Roger began the construction of what would become a symbol of Norman strength and flexibility, Pembroke Castle. Despite its humble beginnings as a timber barrier, Pembroke Castle was a bastion of defense against unstoppable Welsh counterattacks. through the years, Pembroke Castle would evolve into a dangerous fortress, its stone walls bearing witness to the struggles and success of generations. Therefore, Pembroke Castle remained as a tribute to the unwavering spirit of its Norman architects despite the chaos of medieval Wales.
Wow, fascinating. So it was the Normans who built the very first castle, not the local ones, right?
Yes,
Yeah, thank you. We learned a lot about the very first step of the castle. In the following years, were there any changes in the castle?
Yes, there are some transformation in terms of architecture. It was not until 1189 that Pembroke Castle saw many remarkable changes when King Richard I arranged the marriage of Isabella, daughter of Richard de Clare, to William Marshal, thus making Marshal one of the most powerful men in the country, as Isabel held other lands in England, Ireland, and France, as well as those in Wales. Over the following 30 years, extensive changes were made, leading to a significant boost in Pembroke's reputation and history. In his dynasty, Marshal started restoring the old stronghold and building a beautiful Norman stone castle on its timber base. Among the initial features added to the new design was the inner ward containing a massive round keep with a dome roof. A spiral staircase connected all 4 stories, enabling easier access for defenders to reach the post above the head of potential attackers in case of unexpected attack on the castle. Within the inner ward's curtain wall stood a sizable gateway and an observation turret for seeing the surroundings. Despite the upgrades made then, the keep itself would have served as a dangerous obstacle to enemies, considering the wall's impressive 23-meter height and 6-meter thickness. Inside, domestic apartments and Marshal's Great Hall were also found within the inner ward. Another distinctive feature of Pembroke Castle was Woburn Cavern, a spacious limestone cave situated beneath the castle. Accessible via separate spiral staircase, this naturally formed cave not only offers shelter but was also fortified with a wall and arrow slits. It might have served various purposes, such as storing boats or providing access to the Pembroke River for ferrying guests or supplying artillery. The outer wall of Pembroke Castle was defended by a twin-tower gatehouse, another large keep, a barbican, and several rounded towers. Compared to the castle's original design, these architectural enhancements more than double its size.
Thank you for the informative speech, Anh. I must say that the architecture of Pembroke Castle is among the most interesting subjects to do research about. So after the first stones were built, I believe there was one symbolic historic time signature. I will let Hein talk about that. Will Hein?
yes, of course.
King Henry VII, the founder of the Tudor dynasty, has a significant connection to Pembroke Castle, which was his birthplace. While he did not personally return to the castle after his birth, his association with it was deeply rooted. Henry VII was born in Pembroke Castle on 28 January 1457. The castle's tower overlooking Westgate served as the birthplace, which was known as the Henry VII Tower in the 13th century. His mother, Margaret Beaufort, gave birth to him after the death of her first husband, Edmund Tudor. The castle has reverted to the crown under the rule of the King Henry VI, who transferred its ownership to Jasper Tudor, Henry VII's uncle. Although Henry VII never returned to Pembroke Castle, he invested in its restoration and improvement and transformed the castle into a more comfortable residence during his reign.
Oh yeah, Henry VII, a very important figure of Wales or the UK in general. What happened after that? Were there any other changes to the castle?
Pembroke Castle had a storied past that go back many centuries. From its medieval origins to its eventual decline, the castle's fate took a remarkable turn during the restoration effort between 1928 and 1940. Let's explore the transformative period and the legacy it left behind. In 1928, Major General Survival Phillips acquired Pembroke Castle, and that was a significant moment. Philip loves history and heritage, so he took on an ambitious project. He didn't just preserve the castle, he brought back its medieval greatness. Carefully, he restored the walls, strengthened the guest houses, and gave light to the ancient stones. In 1940, Major General Survival Philip passed away, which was a sad event, but his legacy continued. His family and the Pembroke Town Council created a trust together. They worked together to manage the castle, showing their strong commitment. Despite the challenge of time, Pembroke Castle stood strong as a symbol of resilience. The restoration of Pembroke Castle went beyond just fixing the building. It meant more than working with bricks and stones. It was a way to connect to the past, like a bridge to medieval times, and a promise to protect their heritage.
How about now? In the present, does Pembroke Castle stay in the same position as it was in history?
Nestled in the lush greenery of Wales, Pembroke Castle is a symbol of both history and modern charm. Pembroke Castle is also a typical symbol of Pembrokeshire's culture and tourism industry. Welcome visitors from all over the world. It is not only an ancient monument, but also a vibrant center for activities and festivals that bring Pembrokeshire great economic values. Pembroke Castle is also a location with a rich cinematic history, especially as the main filming location of the movie Me Before You. The castle's outstanding setting and historical atmosphere created the perfect backdrop for the poignant love story depicted in the film. As visitors explore the castle's grounds, they may recognize familiar scenes from the film, perhaps envisioning heartfelt moments shared by the characters amid the castle's timeless beauty. Conclusion: Pembroke Castle is not just a place stuck in the past, it is a vivid reminder of the enduring human spirit. It is where history and present meet, where love and excitement mingle, and where even the simplest creatures find their place among its historic walls.
Well, and I believe the final speech of Hua is the final information of today's episode. Again, thank you for joining with Geoheroes today. For any requests of the next countries and next places, please send it to the mail address geoheros.vm